Eintracht Frankfurt, a mid-table German club, grabs forgotten strikers for next to nothing or even for free. Then, boom, they turn them into stars and sell them off for 50 to 95 million euros to Premier League or French giants. Sebastian Haller, Luka Jović, and Randal Kolo Muani rejects who made Frankfurt a fortune. How? Smart scouting, a perfect system, and cashing in fast. And the clubs buying them? West Ham, Real Madrid, PSG, and Liverpool. Curious how Frankfurt keeps pulling it off again and again. Stick around for their transfer magic, Sebastian Haller. Let's start with the OG of this Frankfurt flip, Sebastian Haller. This tall Ivorian forward was dominating the Dutch league with Utrecht in 2017, scoring goals as if it were his job, which, of course, it was. But Utrecht wasn't exactly a selling machine, so when Eintracht came calling, they snapped him up for a bargain, 7-8 million. Haller was a beast in the Bundesliga. In just 2 seasons, from 2017 to 2019, he played 77 games in all competitions, scored 33 goals, and added 18 assists. Not bad, huh? In his very first season alone, he dropped 20 goals in 41 matches. Then came the 2018-19 season, and Haller went off, involved in 24 goals. Only one man topped that. Yep, Lewandowski. West Ham were desperate for a new striker after they sold Arnautovic to the Premier League. And who did they go for? Yep, Haller. They splashed out a club record 50 million to get him. Profit? Over 40 million for Eintracht on a guy they'd had for just 2 years. Genius move, right? Well, not for long. Once Haller left, things didn't go as expected. He couldn't hold down his spot at West Ham, and later at Dortmund, things weren't much better. The goals stopped coming, the excitement faded, and that massive fee started to look, well, a little embarrassing. Maybe it was David Moyes choosing Michael Antonio, maybe personal struggles like his wife's illness, or maybe just the demanding Premier League schedule were to blame. Whatever it was, he scored just 14 goals in 54 games before Ajax bought him for 22.5 million euros in 2021. Now, at 31, he's on the sidelines, and Frankfurt looks like the real winner of that story. They bought smart, sold high, and left West Ham and Dortmund regretting their gamble. So, Haller set the blueprint. But Frankfurt's next move, too, caw it to another level. Luka Jović. Speaking of guys who exploded, then faded, enter Luka Jović, the Serbian kid who looked like the next big thing. In 2017, Eintracht brought him in on loan from Benfica. Nobody wanted him, he was 19, raw, and collecting dust in Portugal. But Frankfurt saw the spark. 2 years later, they made it permanent for about 22 million. And Jović? Holy hell, he delivered. Jović was a nightmare for defenses at Frankfurt. From 2017 to 2019, he scored 36 goals and added assists in just 76 games. And that 2018-19 season? Legendary. 17 goals in 32 Bundesliga games and 10 in 14 Europa League matches, including braces against Marseille and heartbreaking losses to Chelsea in the semi-finals. That pentakick? 5 goals in 1 game against Dusseldorf? Iconic. Then came the shocker. In June 2019, Real Madrid threw 65 million at Eintracht for the 21-year-old star. Profit? Nearly 45 million on a loan turned permanent steal. That's the same fee Real paid for Zinedine Zidane back in 2001, a world record smash at the time that Zidane justified with that volley in the Champions League final. Jović, not so much. Injuries, COVID, and Benzema's shadow meant just 2 goals in 17 La Liga games in 2019. Jović came back to Frankfurt on loan in 2021. But at Real Madrid, just 3 goals in 32 games. After that, he went on loan to Fiorentina, then Milan, and now he's at AEK Athens. So what's the takeaway here? Frankfurt did it again. They polished a good player, sold him for a fortune, and watched as the big buyer learned an expensive lesson. Wait, Frankfurt was just getting started with their next zero-cost gem, Marmoush. Marmoush, the Egyptian speedster that most clubs seem to overlook. Wolfsburg loaned him out a couple of times since 2017. First to Stuttgart, then to St. Pauli. He scored 10 goals in 42 Bundesliga matches over 2 seasons. 3 seasons with 5 league goals? Yawn. Eintracht jumped in for a free transfer when his contract expired in May 2023. Yep, free. No big transfer fee, nothing. What a deal. Marmoush blew up. In 67 games from 2023 to January 2025, he scored 37 goals and 20 assists. His 2023-24 season, 12 goals in 29 league games. But 2024-25? Insane. By mid-season, he already had 15 goals and led the Bundesliga in assists. In September, he earned Player of the Month with a brace against Wolfsburg and winners against Gladbach. He broke Gekas's Hinrunde record and dragged Frankfurt to 3rd place. Then came the payday. Manchester City, hunting for a Salah-like winger after a shaky season, paid £70 million in January 2025, £59 million initially, with bonuses up to £75 million. Free in, 70 million out, pure profit. It's like the Zidane fee all over again, but for a guy Pep Guardiola calls elite and flexible. And Marmoush? The fireworks have already started to equal Kane's figures after 6 months at City. Of course, it's still early days at City, but what if he fades like the others? Well, Eintracht won't care. They've banked the bag. Marmoush was a steal, but Frankfurt had an even bigger surprise up their sleeve. Kolo. Muani flipped to Kolo, Muani, the French rocket who was born for the spotlight. After dominating at Nantes and winning the Coupe de France, his contract ran out in 2022. Eintracht didn't waste a second. They signed him for free in June. Yep, €0 for a 23-year-old with World Cup hype. And wow, what a season! 50 games, 26 goals, 17 assists. He drove Frankfurt's push for the top 6 in Europa qualification. In the league alone, 15 goals in 32 matches and 11 assists. Speed, dribbling, finishing, absolute perfection. After Messi left, PSG jumped at the opportunity and spent a staggering €95 million on him in September 2023. Yep, 75 million up front, 20 million in add-ons. That's exactly what Real Madrid paid for Cristiano Ronaldo back in 2009, the deal that basically kicked off CR7's legend. Eintracht's profit? 95 million on a free agent. Insane. But Kolo Muani at PSG? Crickets. Over the course of 18 months, 11 goals in 54 games, primarily cameos behind Mbappe and Dembele. After forcing a move and refusing to train, he signed a €3.6 million loan deal with Juventus in January 2025. But he hasn't shown much yet. He scored 8 goals in Serie A before the loan ended last season. Then, at the start of this season, he moved on loan to Tottenham, where he barely played any minutes. While Eintracht laughs at the bank, PSG is chasing shadows on that investment. Kolo Muani's jackpot was massive, but Frankfurt's final flip might be their boldest yet. Ekitiké. Last but not least, Ekitiké, the ultimate head-scratcher. In February 2024, PSG loaned their €31 million flop, who scored just 4 goals in 33 games, to Frankfurt for €3.5 million. Frankfurt then triggered a €16.5 million buy option in April. The total cost was around €20 million for a 21-year-old who had struggled in Paris. He had shown earlier at Reims, scoring 10 goals in 24 Ligue 1 games. But Eintracht, they unlocked him. In 64 appearances from 2024 to July 2025, 26 goals and 12 assists. His full 2024-25 season, 15 Bundesliga goals in 33 starts, 8 assists, plus 4 in Europa League, and 3 in DFB Pokal. He was in the Bundesliga team of the season, finishing third with Frankfurt. Liverpool dropped 95 million in July 2025, 80 million up front, 15 million bonuses to snag him as Slot's new number 9. Again, CR7 money for a Frankfurt product. Profit for Eintracht, 75 million. But Ekitiké at Anfield? It's not been all sunshine and rainbows, but Ekitiké's off to a solid start. He's already knocking on the door of double digits for goals this season, showing flashes of promise. But like Marmoush, there's still a lot to prove. The pressure is sky high because of that massive price tag. The stats so far suggest he's holding up better than expected, but hey, give it time, or not. Eintracht has already cashed the check. Comparison. Spot the pattern? Eintracht's genius isn't luck. It's scouting rejects, giving them freedom, then cashing in quickly. Haller and Jović, 115 million combined from 30 million outlay. Marmoush and Kolo Muani, some 165 million from nothing. Add Ekitiké, and that's 75 million in 4 years. West Ham, Real, PSG, Liverpool? They bought the dream, Frankfurt sold the fantasy. Who's the real winner here? Frankfurt's laughing, selling nobodies and turning them into somebody else's headache. Smash that like if your team Eintracht, subscribe for more transfer tales, and hit notifications. Next up could be your club's dirty secrets.